Okay, so we're back here with the Nighthawk project, Nighthawk Idle Update Part 2. Got the seat off, got the bags off. I'm about ready to run the fuel out of the carburetor. So I'm going to go down here and flip the petcock here to off, and that means it won't be flowing any fuel in. Then I have to pull these side panels off. Do that same thing on the other side, and then that one bolt right there, we'll pull the tank off once I undo the fuel line, and we'll get started on pulling these carburetors. Down here, I have some heat shrink tubing actually that was put over these boots, so something's gonna have to get dealt with, or something's gonna have to be done to deal with that. This rubber's gonna shrink. This air box may have been out of position, I don't know. I have done this job before. I think I'm going to have to take this inner fender underneath the wheel off as well. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to fire it up, run out of gas, and then work on getting that tank off, and then see where we can go from there. So I got a little bit stalled because I realized I didn't have the right diameter socket to take these plugs out. It's an 18 millimeter. So I ended up getting this. Auto Parts Store didn't have a spark plug socket in this size, pretty typical. But this is an 18 millimeter deep socket, so it should do the trick. I'm gonna pull the plugs and see how they look. Might do a spark test. Not sure yet. I gotta look up best way to do that, and then we're gonna work on pulling these carburetors out. So pull the plugs, see what they look like. Stay tuned. Although it's tough to see on camera, this spark plug here for spark plug number 2 looks like it's running a bit lean, which is kind of what I had felt when I was idling it, and felt above the headers. So I think it's a fuel issue. I'm not going to bother to run a spark test, mainly because there's nowhere really on this bike to ground to even check it without having to do a lot of annoying stuff. Whenever you take out spark plugs, always make sure to blow this area in between the cylinders out, because there's always a bunch of garbage that gets in there. Unbelievable stuff you find, including this piece of glass, which I found stuck in there. So always make sure to do that. I'm going to go ahead and start working on pulling the carbs. This is going to take a while. I got to pull the battery and all this stuff that's connected to everything in here. The other side, there's, I think this might be a toolkit, I can't remember, it's either that or a relay box, and then we have the rectifier, regulator rectifier, electronics as well in there, so that's all going to have to get pulled, and then I got to deal with that heat shrink tubing and all the clamps, and then we'll eventually be able to get to the carburetors. Probably won't get that out today. First thing I have to do actually is pull the rear fender and start working on that. So it's going to be a time-consuming process. Unfortunately, this is going to be a while. Stay tuned. Alright, so the air box is free. I ended up having to unhook these connections. 2 of these go to the regulator rectifier. This thing over here goes to something else. I don't know what that is, but that has to get undone. I didn't end up having to take the toolbox out totally. I just took out the cover for the toolbox, which goes there. There are 2 bolts up here, and then the third one is just kind of hidden down there, which you have to take off to get off. And then I had to take off the clamps that go on the boots. And these boots are going to be a bit of a problem when I put them back together. Over here is when my sort of hack repairs from when I was younger. This heat shrink tubing that I wrapped around the outside of the boot there, this part here, just sort of went over that. My 23-year-old brain thought that was a great idea, but kind of a pain to take off, and then trying to put them back on is going to be an issue. The issue with the boots is that they just don't quite reach over the end of carburetor, which you can't really see here, but basically right here, they just don't reach to the end of the intake side of the carburetor, so it has chance to get dirt in the way and all sorts of other stuff in there. So that's a problem. Another thing I took off is the battery bracket, but I left the battery in. All the wiring so far, starter solenoid and all that junk, is the same, or has not been messed with. So next thing I'm going to do is remove these boots, which will eventually come out. Just might be able to get it right now. Yeah, there we go. Here's one of them. And then I'm going to have to pull the whole carb rack from outside of the engine. So that's going to be lots of fun. So maybe I'll set up the tripod so you can see me. It's like Ride 'em Cowboy. There's a lot of wiggling, and looks like I'm riding a rodeo as I try to pull those out, because these boots here are very stiff, and it's going to be quite the pain in the you-know-where to get those out. So see that coming up. Alright, so they're out. A little bit easier than I thought. Now the question is getting these throttle cables. Sorry about the folding up my tripod here. Now it's the question of getting those throttle cables out, which is going to be a bit of a process, so try to do that off camera. You won't be able to see anything anyway, but the carb rack's out. Next step is disconnect the cables and go from there. Okay, so the carburetors are out. One of the things you have to do is remove the two throttle cables, which involve loosening up the nuts that are up on these two brackets on top. And then back is this little thing, which connects to the bi-star / choke valve as well. That's in there. So those two things have to come out, and then the whole carb rack will pull out. So stay tuned for updates as I start pulling into these things. I'm going to see if I can pull the bowls off, and also take a look at the pilot screws as well, the idle screws. So I'm going to put that in another video. But, make a little bit of progress. Hopefully with a little cleaning I can get the thing to idle. Trying to avoid doing a full rebuild with these. I'm going to try to do the quickie fix, which a lot of times is probably not the best idea, but hopefully I can get this thing running, because I think it's fairly simple, but we'll see. So thanks for watching, and check out the next update that I have when I actually delve into the carburetors.